So we're here for another Q&A session. We've just got, I think it's around 10 questions. I'm going to kick things off with the first one from... Okay, so this week we've got Signature Vision for our community Q&A and interview. Do you want to introduce yourself, lads?
Yeah, my name's Alfie. I'm singer, songwriter, and frontman of the band.
And I'm Dan. I'm the bass player.
Lovely. Okay, and so tell us a little bit about the band. How did you come together to begin with?
Yeah, so me, Dan, and James, we were at school together. We were in the same class, and I think we were about 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
We just started jamming around, seeing what we could do, kind of in school, and then I think we just got bored of that and tried to make something of it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was more of like there's a talent show, kind of showcase, music showcase they used to do every year, and we did that as our very first kind of live performance.
Yeah,
and from there we kind of
just got the bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago we got Cam involved. So I used to play football with Cam, and me and James used to play football with Cam. So we got him as a lead guitarist.
Nice. That's great. And how did you come up with the band name then?
Oh, I hate it. I think it's rubbish. I think it's a rubbish name. It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was probably about 2018.
And I think we were just... I think we had a first or second gig or something.
I think it was the first gig, and they pressed us for a name for promotion.
The venue pressed us name just obviously to stick on a poster, and it was going to be Summit Vision, and I think just Signature stuck, and it's just stuck ever since.
Yeah. Kind of went too far for you guys to sort of change or do anything about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I suppose once perhaps people start to know that name, then it kind of becomes the identity of the band either way.
Yeah, it does, and it's then very hard to change it. So you may as well, if it sticks and if people remember it, then I suppose that's all that really matters.
Yeah, it works. And how long have you guys been together as a band then?
About 8 years now.
Oh, yeah,
2017, late 2017, kind of
start of 2018. Yeah.
So it's been going quite a while now then, so I bet you've had like a lot of different experiences and a few learning curves then along the way.
Yeah, just fed up with the others, really. That's a bit, to be honest.
And so a lot of our members will know you from when you supported Skinner Brothers back last year. So how did you guys first meet with Skinner Brothers and get in touch with them?
We literally met them on that night. I hadn't ever met them before or crossed paths, and I think it was just one of those things that we saw that they were looking for supports on Twitter, I think it was, and we literally just got all of our mates to comment on their posts, tag us. Literally, it was one of those DIY jobs, and luckily they got in touch.
That's great. And what other artists do you enjoy listening to yourselves then?
I think a shared interest would be like the Jam.
Yeah, Paul Weller, that kind of thing. I'm into a bit more like the Britpop movement stuff, all the way through to like Arctic Monkeys. But I like a range of things. I don't really like to classify it too much. I like a bit of soul. I like a bit of like pop music, to be honest, and a bit more. Just a bit of everything.
I'm a bit more heavier stuff.
Yeah.
So Slipknot, Metallica. Big fan of Green Day and the Foo Fighters. That kind of area.
Yeah. Sort of pop punk, heavy metal.
Exactly. Yeah.
That sort of vibe. Nice. And if you could choose, say, any three artists, past, present, to create like a dream super band, who would that be for you guys?
I think they'd be different as well. I'd choose, my dead cert would probably be John Lennon. I'd start with John Lennon because I think that would just be a far out experience.
That's a good question.
David Bowie, I think, would be my second one.
Who'd you put in?
Alanis Morissette,
Nice.
because of her Jagged Little Pill album. I think that is incredible. I think that would be an awesome, like a weird dynamic, but I think we'd come up with something great there.
And yourself?
I reckon maybe Prince, Freddie Mercury.
Nice.
That'd be quite a dynamic. Quite a good
It
dynamic.
would.
And possibly maybe. No, tough one, isn't it? Really? Prince, Freddie Mercury. I'd probably say Bowie as well. Those three, I think, would probably create something mega. I mean, obviously, David Bowie and Queen already have done.
It would be
Under
something
Pressure,
far
but
out as
imagine,
well.
Yeah, Prince
Yeah.
in there as well. Mega.
And then where do you see the band then in 5 years' time from now?
I'd like to see us doing. I'd like to see us on more festival lineups, and I know that's probably quite a cliche thing that a lot of bands say, but I think they're just so hard to get on. We haven't properly had our fair share, really, have we?
No,
not the
like,
major
big,
festivals.
no.
So I'd like to get on some stages on them.
Yeah. And with the band then, are you going down, are you looking for like a more mainstream music route or a more of the independent artist route?
I think naturally it'll probably be the more independent
Yeah.
one. I think it's, I mean, I can't really say from any experience, but it feels a bit out of reach to go through any kind of mainstream sort of stuff. So I think it will have to be independent. But we like grafting, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of we've built this up pretty much on our own.
And from
with some
day dot, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had, obviously some people have helped us along the way.
Yeah, but
studios, mostly it's been us, really.
Yeah, and I think that way it's probably there's more sense of accomplishment in there.
Yeah.
To see that you've actually built something and people actually want to come and see you and people actually like listening to what you put out. So naturally,
yeah, especially if you're going out, you're doing everything yourself. You're doing all your own filming and everything, and then the end product just proves the way you created it every time.
Yeah.
And you can always look back then, and that's something to be proud of on there. So we've had a question from a member who's asked, do you plan a Canadian tour at any point?
Canadian tour?
Yeah.
You're off out there, aren't you?
I'm going on holiday next week.
He's off out to Toronto next week.
Yeah. Do we plan a Canadian tour?
I mean, if I had the opportunity, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we could make it happen, I think we would.
Yeah.
Go abroad. We haven't done Europe, so
That would be well
that would
cool,
be a
though.
big stretch to go over there.
Over the pond, yeah.
But,
I would love to though, if that's a suitable enough answer.
Yeah, if it's an option, then we'd be there definitely. And we've had one here now. It's a bit of a two-part question. So you're about to play live, and and one of your equipment's broke down. But you get to choose one piece of equipment. What would it be? Microphone, drums, or guitar and bass?
Yeah, so I saw this question on one of the comments, but I didn't really understand it. I don't know what we did you.
No,
I don't. I'll be honest. I don't understand. If
I think it's if you could pick like one piece of equipment not to work for a gig. You've got a sort of a way to relate it. So if the guitar went, you can go grab an acoustic or.
Oh yeah.
I see. That's probably the more easiest one.
Yeah, I mean, between us, we've got a lot, quite a couple of instruments, So if one went, there'd be a spare one somewhere.
Yeah, we could make do.
Or if we had to give up something, lead guitar, we could give up.
To be honest, even in the last few months, funny you should say that. Like we've done a few gigs where last minute, like say one of the lads falls ill or can't make it or for whatever reason. So we have made do. Like there was one gig you couldn't make it, so I played bass. There was another gig. Cam wasn't there, so we did like an acoustic set.
Tonight we're playing without Cam.
Yeah, tonight we're playing as a 3-piece without Cam. So it would probably be a electric guitar, I think, and then you can kind of make it work.
Yeah, you can make it work behind it. And as from a creative standpoint, then, who does what in the bands? In like lyrics, writing guitar.
Well, I write most of the lyrics and the music and the melodies. So I write the songs. Cam, on the last few singles and the next couple, Cam has chipped in with some melodies and some guitar parts, etc. You lay down your bass, don't you?
Yeah, given kind of like the basic root notes, and I like to make them a bit more fancier, whether it be
because he can and we can't. We can and we can't.
Whether it be proper bass line. Like the next track we've got coming out, it's got a pretty hefty bass chorus in it. Pretty fast and kind of fluid.
It's almost like a lead line almost of its own.
Very Green Day-esque. But and then obviously with James as well, he'll do his drums because no one else. I play a bit of drums, but he's been doing drums for years, and you give him something, and
it doesn't take too long, does it?
Yeah. And the track you mentioned there, then, is there any sort of release we can look out for coming up for that, or?
So it'll be end of July, start of August.
Yeah, because we dropped our last single about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 23rd, I think, of May. So yeah.
Yeah, we towards August.
Yeah, we haven't set on a date, but it will be end of July, start of August.
Yeah. So if anyone does want to catch that, obviously the best way then to keep is keep subscribed, notification bells on YouTube and such, and then they'll catch that as it comes out.
Yeah.
Did what your parents listened to when you were kids influence your musical choices growing up?
Yes, definitely. My parents were into like we mentioned earlier, Paul Weller, The Jam. That's what I was brought up on, and then you obviously go down different rabbit holes, and whatnot. But yeah, it definitely for me.
Yeah, sorry, dog's going on. But my dad was a big fan of The Jam. And I think we met from the Jam concert. Obviously, we weren't met at school, but we were from a Jam concert.
We did bump into each other
in a toilet.
I think that was before we were in the band.
Yeah,
wasn't
it?
Yeah.
So definitely. Whether it be also kind of more Gary Newman-esque. My dad's a big fan of Gary Newman. I've got like Gary Newman, industrial kind of Nine Inch Nails, that kind of thing. So I think
but I think it's definitely what you start on. And then you can just go down all these different rabbit holes of who they were influenced by, who they worked with, and then you can go into any sort of genre, can't you? And that's how I've discovered music, anyway.
And if you weren't in the band, then what would you be doing? Do you think?
Not much, I don't think. Right?
Probably not.
No, probably be going to work, coming home, going to bed, going to work.
Yeah, just a 9 to 5, I expect.
It is a good motivation then to.
It is, yeah.
Push forward, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the reason it's the reason I get up in the morning. I don't think there's a minute of the day where I've not got music on my mind, which sounds really cliche and really kind of cringy, but yeah, it's on to the next one, on to the next, on to the next.
Yeah. And then being an independent artist and doing things your own, is there any like little tips or anything or tricks you've picked up along the way that you've learned from?
Never stop. There is moments where you wonder why you do this, but don't, because you never know. The next week you might have one of the best gigs of your life. So just don't stop grafting.
I think meet people as well, because you never know who you're talking to. Obviously, you guys discovered us from Skinner Brothers.
Yeah,
we had a good conversation with very good roots and all that.
Yeah.
When our very first single the very first single, and like the 4 afterwards, was recorded by a guy that saw us play in Andover.
Yeah, he saw it, literally just an open mic night, and picked us up, and we used his studio for 4 or 5 singles. So just speak to people. I've had trouble with that in the past. I'm not exactly the most confident person, but I think once you do that, you never know. One, you never know who you're playing to, but 2, you never know who you're kind of speaking to, and who knows where.
And then the networking that comes from that, then it can have a huge impact moving forward, definitely.
Yeah.
And who would you love to spend 30 minutes with if you could pick anyone?
Musically or not?
Musically, any ways, really.
I'd quite like to go back in time and see what Winston Churchill was thinking.
Okay.
That would be quite cool, because he had pretty much the weight of the world on his shoulders. That would be quite cool, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe like Paul McCartney, but from the 60s era, as they were getting into it. That would be quite interesting as well, because back then, kind of like pop was kind of kicking off, and it was a kind of very new kind of era, very new experience, and I think that would be quite interesting to learn from. essentially.
And what would be your dream sort of festival and or venue to perform at?
Venue. I've always wanted to play the Cavern Club in Liverpool, which is obviously where the Beatles played 600 odd shows or whatever it was. I'd like to play there.
Wembley would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wembley would be nice, yeah. I'd love to play Glastonbury, and I don't really care what stage it is, but I really want to play Glastonbury Festival as well.
Yeah, Glastonbury good.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do them anymore. I know a lot of the larger festivals, they used to do like a yearly competition, didn't they? I know Download used to do it a lot. A local band from around here, don't they? I know the lead singer's in Holding Absence, if you know them. But that can be a really good sort of opportunity for a lot of small bands then as well.
Yeah.
And if you could play with any artist, then if Signature Vision could be a support artist to any act in the world, who would that be for you guys?
Paul Weller might be interesting.
Paul Weller would be good, yeah.
I think that kind of
because he plays some nice venues as well. He plays like theatres and kind of halls rather than your standard arenas, which would be quite cool. I think Arctic Monkeys would be quite cool because you'd then get a bit of both worlds because they've changed so much. They play all their old stuff, but you'd get a lot of their back catalogue, and it'd just be cool to see how they work because they barely have any kind of social media presence, so you'd actually get an insight into what actually goes on.
Yeah, and their fan base is absolutely huge as well, isn't it? And like you say, they have changed a hell of a lot over the years from that heavy, quite indie band to what they are now. So as an independent artist, then how can fans best support you?
I would say just by coming to a show because
following us on Instagram, listening to our music on Spotify, and getting a ticket to a show.
Even so, I don't know about you. It's a lot. I get a kick out of like in the moment. So if you've got support at a show, if you're chatting to someone at a merch desk, if you're selling someone a t-shirt, that has more of an impact on me than a like on Instagram. As much as in today's world, you obviously need those numbers and views.
Yeah.
It's more kind of palpable. I don't know if that's the word, but do you know what I mean? You can see it and feel it if it's in the room, which is quite nice. To come to a show.
And what would be the song you're most proud of as a band?
Ooh. I quite like Intentions.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good one. That was off the EP that came out last year. Intentions.
Yeah.
I like C'est La Vie, and it's not necessarily for the recording because if I could go back, I'd change a few things, but that's by the by. I like how that's come on live, and it's kind of a bit of an anthem, and people catch on to the chorus, which is nice.
And what interests and hobbies do you have then outside of music?
I mean, I play football. I play a bit of golf. Just generally try and keep myself fit because no one likes a fat rock star. Yeah, you?
Good question. I mean, I used to do it was more music related still, but I have a degree in music production. So at one point, I was doing quite a bit of kind of mixing and mastering for with myself, other bands. I go to the gym, play some video games. The kind of standard kind of teenage, late early 20s kind of person.
So having the background in mixing and mastering there, then do you find obviously are you mixing and mastering your own stuff for the band then, and that's helping cut costs, outsourcing that?
So we have done. So both me and James Ojama, we both studied the same music production degree. Although I think when it comes to our own music, it's always better to have someone else do it because you're so biased. What you think should go, someone else might go no, and it will sound, probably will be better off with fresh ears rather than you playing the song 100 times and mixing it another 100 times. So, I think that's the better way to do it, to be honest. But it's always good to kind of know what you're doing because then you can obviously assist and, if you need to do something or, if a sound engineer doesn't turn up for a show, you can, make do.
Yeah, you can make do yourself. And do you have any troubles with performance anxiety?
I get quite nervous before I go on. Once I've got the first song out of the way, then I'm all right. That settles me down. But I still get nervous. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I kind of expect it now.
Yeah, sort of feed off it in a way after
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, we done a headline show in Southampton. Well, at the Joiners actually, where we supported Skinner Brothers last week, and I just remember thinking like I love that five or so minutes when you're waiting to go on stage, and then you walk on, and then the band kicks in. That's like, it's a nervous excitement, but it feels like it feels like it's properly. I don't know. There's something happening.
Yeah.
that you
just
can't
alive.
control. Yeah, it's just a buzz. But that's I don't think it will never get old. But you guys
So
don't
no,
feel anything.
I don't get nervous when we perform. I don't think our drummer does either. I don't know about Cam.
Cam doesn't anymore.
I don't know. I've never really ever gotten nervous standing in front of crowds or doing anything like that. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you've got to do it, so you just kind of like just do it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it.
Whereas I see it as people have paid money to come and watch you. You've got to put on a good, like, you've got to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But both it works. We make it work.
So, yeah.
And what is your favourite and least favourite part then about being an independent artist?
Favorite, I think, is we get to go and see places that I would never even have dreamed going. Like you'd go to pubs and clubs and cities and what have you that you'd never really go like otherwise, which is you get to see places.
I think the least favorite part is kind of how quickly and easily things can go kind of upside down. Because obviously with mainstream artists, they're managed and it's very kind of tight. With
You get the backing of a label, don't you?
Yeah, you get the backing. With independent, there's been times where we haven't, things have been cancelled last minute. We haven't been told for certain things.
Not get paid, stuff like that. There's all problems.
And it's not ideal. But I suppose
it's not the reason why you do it. The reason why you do it is because you like music. So you just grit your teeth and get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose the pros and cons there, obviously you mentioned with like label backing and stuff, but then of course a lot of the time when you get label backing and stuff, you have to then fit into the cookie cutter mold of, right, you do this, you say this, you wear this.
Yeah.
And what would be then your favorite performance memory?
I personally like our hometown shows because that's where we kind of draw our biggest crowd, and I think our single launch,
EP launch, right?
No, I was gonna say the Renegade one.
Oh yeah.
We did a single. We've done an EP launch and a single launch. I think for me personally, the single launch was the best one for me because we packed out a venue called the Winchester Gate. It's not a very big venue, but we packed it out. We had people watching from the corridor, trying to get in.
Yeah,
and that was a good night.
Yeah, but mine was probably the EP launch, you said. But also we went up to Manchester a couple of years ago, and between like us and a load of people from around where we live, we took like a big coach up, and we got it organised and made a whole weekend of it. And it was just like, once we'd finished, it was like, right, this is finally, we've pulled this off kind of thing. Literally just a bunch of kids from Salisbury managed to do that, and it was just quite a satisfying moment.
Nice. And have you ever had anything thrown at you on stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some underwear thrown at me once.
They were women's underwear.
I had some work colleagues. This is our hometown show. Thought it'd be funny to buy a load of underwear and throw them at me halfway through the set. we got it on video as well.
It is on video.
Yeah, because we have a tripod you put just behind the drummer, so you can film.
Yeah.
Then you can see that, and you can see everyone's expressions when they land, which is quite funny.
It's funny. It always seems to be underway. We had the boys from Nothing Rhymes with Orange on the other week, and they just had this bra ready. It was on camera. It was great. So last couple of years now, what advice would you give to aspiring musicians?
Just keep at it. I would say don't stop, because like I said earlier, there is times where you do wonder why you do it. And you could be stood outside a venue in the freezing cold at like midnight or so in a town where you're not like nowhere near home, but you just got to remember why you do it. And if you enjoy it, if you do it for the pure reasons of doing it, the enjoyment and the love of music, then I don't think you can go far wrong, because your commitment is already there.
Definitely keep at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and speak to as many people as you can.
Nice. And so where can the fans then buy sort of your music, your merch?
So merch. I mean, we really should get it on the website. To be honest. But
mostly we carry it around with us.
yeah, merch is at every show that we play, and then the songs are on all the usual streaming platforms.
I suppose if they want to
Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music.
Yeah,
it's on everything. So we use Ditto, so it does every platform.
Yeah. Do you guys use Bandcamp at all?
No, I got asked this at our show last week. No, we don't. But maybe we should start looking into it. Yeah.
Bandcamp do a thing once a month. I think it's the last Friday of every month. What is called Bandcamp Friday.
Okay.
So they don't take any cut of what's bought from you on that day, so it just goes straight to you guys there. So Bandcamp is always one that I'd say definitely push on to.
We'll have a look into that.
Yeah.
And what upcoming shows do you guys have?
Upcoming shows. So today we're playing in Brixton. I think is a venue Off the Cuff? Is that what?
Off the Cuff, yeah. We're up in Brixton tonight. Tomorrow, me and Cam have got auditions to play at a festival in Glastonbury on Worthy Farm. It's not Glastonbury Festival, but they do something called the Pilton Party in September. So we've got auditions for that tomorrow night.
Nice.
Then I think August the 2nd, we're headlining the Railway Inn in Winchester,
which is another great independent venue.
And there's Bozfest at the end.
That's Burnham on Sea. In between that, in the middle of August, they're not announced yet, but we've got a couple of local kind of day festivals in and around Salisbury and Andover, so kind of more local ones. And then we've got like we were talking about earlier, a single ready for the start of August, and then we've got another one ready for maybe October time.
Yeah.
So we've got a plan for the end of the year, so we're just trying to keep as busy as we can.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy by the sounds of it for you guys over the next year then. So definitely make sure everyone's following on all channels then, just to keep up to date with everything that's going on there.
Exactly.
That's it. Well, that's everything I've got here, guys. Is there anything you want to add on the end of that?
No, just thanks for having us on, I think. It's nice, like from the other way round, it's nice to actually be recognised and actually people want to have a chat with you and people want to kind of give a platform to be able to leverage up people's fans, like whether it be us or whether it be Nothing Rhymes with Orange, who were on a little while ago. It does make all the difference, I think, and if you can get to as many ears, that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, great. Lovely. Well, thanks, guys.
Nice one. Cheers.